When I say parking lot wars, do you know what I'm talking about? Well, here's what I mean by it. You go to work in the morning, and you show up at the parking lot that you're designated to park in, and you may have a parking space that you typically park in every day. You might be one of those people who, even though it doesn't have your name on the spot, doesn't have a sign up there, you may feel like, this is my spot, this is where I park every day. Now, I'm not one of those people who cares about that. I could care less. I could park someplace different every day and be just as happy. I don't care. But there are some where I work who have a real problem with that. And if you park in a spot that they think is their spot, then they will report it to their supervisor. And in turn, their supervisor will report it to my supervisor, and then we'll probably hear about it in some kind of a meeting. Now, this is strictly out of a sense of entitlement on their part. And they're very petty. This is just petty stuff. This is not property war where it's things that really count. Someone's infringing upon your property line, they're building on it. That's a real problem. But parking lot wars, this is not something that happens at Target or Walmart. These things happen at places where you frequent the most, where you see the same people pretty regularly. And so these people feel that they have some merit in claiming a spot. They don't care what you think. That they are more important than you are. And if you take their spot, they will take action. In fact, I have seen the kind of actions taken, such as bashing in of side mirrors, scratching of the vehicles with a key or with another vehicle, denting a door in with a foot. And when these people get caught, they get fired. They lose their job over something so petty because they felt that they were entitled, when in fact their name wasn't on anything. This pettiness comes from a place of neediness, and neediness destroys. Neediness will destroy you. It will destroy your relationships. It can end your career, potentially, as I've given you an example of here. Neediness is one of those things that I think that just about every human being has to confront in themselves at some point or another. If they never do, they'll end up on the other end of life with very little to show for it and no friends to surround them to comfort them, because their neediness has driven everyone away. I've been guilty of it, and from time to time I still am, and I've tried to get over it. The only reason I know about it, the only reason I'm aware of it, is because I have gone through the grinder. And some of you may know exactly what I'm talking about and have done the same thing. You've experienced loss, or you have brushed with, you've had a near brushing with disaster. If you do this to friends, if you would get around your friends, your family, your spouse, whoever, you fill in the blank, and you express that you need something from them that they're not giving you, that's going to put a bad taste in their mouth. Here's something I learned a long time ago. Life has a way of keeping from you what you want. It has a way of keeping from you what you need. Now, people oftentimes say there's a difference between need and want. But you've got to be very careful, because we oftentimes think that we need what we want. So I say, change both of those things. Change your wants and change your needs. Don't rely upon anybody else to make you happy. There's what you think will make you happy on one hand, and then there's the deficit of that need on the other. And when you assign happiness to you by the supply of whatever this is over here, and then you realize on the other hand you're not getting it, you're not happy. This is why it scares me when I hear about people who are divorced, or getting a divorce, or have been divorced, and they meet up with somebody else, and they say, regardless of what the reason was for their divorce to begin with, and they meet up with somebody else and they say, this person makes me so happy, this person fulfills me. I think, oh my word, this is a recipe for disaster. Because that person's going to be really needy. And I've been guilty of it. I'll admit it. I'll be the first one to admit it. My wife could tell you stories. But it's also been my undoing. But I've learned a lot. I've learned that when I come to the brink of when I come to a place in my relationship where I start feeling miserable because my spouse is not doing something for me that I think they ought to, or not paying attention to me, or whatever the deficit is there, I have to tell myself now, I don't really need that. I just want that. It doesn't have to make me unhappy. I might be a little frustrated. I might be a little disappointed, but I don't have to be altogether unhappy. And also, I want to add to that, the pursuit of happiness is not everything in life. And I'll tell you, by pursuing happiness, that's a sure way to lose it altogether. So, what do we do? How do you reconcile all that? Well, it's just what I said before. Change your wants, change your needs. I really do believe life has a way of keeping from you what you want and what you think you need. It's always trying to teach you a lesson. It certainly has me, and I've been better off for it. Like I said, I've been through the grinder. It doesn't feel good, but it has made me a better person. It's really made me a better person. You say, well, Greg, you don't understand what I'm dealing with. What my spouse is doing, or what my girlfriend, or boyfriend, husband, whatever, my children, what all these other people in my life, what they're doing is not right. I deserve better than that. And you just don't, if you understood that there are certain things that are necessary in a relationship to make it work, if you understood that, Greg, you understand that I can't be happy and that it's not going to work. Well, that's being needy. I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand that relationships do require love and respect to work. I do get that. But if you try to force that by being needy, you're going to lose it. And when you let go and you finally realize that I don't have to make it known that I need anything from this other person, I don't have to want anything from them, you're going to start getting exactly what you think you want and what you need. It's amazing how that works. That's been my life experience. It gets to the point where you realize that you're happy because you've put yourself in that state of mind. And if you get anything else, that's nice. It's icing on the cake. Some days you have cake with icing on it. Some days you don't, but you still have cake because you've made yourself happy. Parking lot wars. It all stems from neediness. The need to feel powerful. The need for ownership. I once heard that the more power an individual needs, the less they actually have. And it's true. It's not much different. You go to a church. Have you ever been to a church where long-standing members sit in the same places every week, and they come in one day and they find out that someone else is sitting in their seat, a visitor is sitting in their seat, and they give them this look. I can't believe you're sitting in my seat. It's not their fault. They didn't know. It's just ridiculous. The same mindset. But you know what I like to do? I like to go to work and park in different parking spaces just to aggravate them. Petty people, I'm sorry. Petty people, they deserve to be irritated. They've earned it. They've earned the irritation. And when you're satisfied with things getting mixed up and not always getting your way, you'd be surprised at how your attitude changes and how your outlook changes. You might actually like what you get. You might sit in a different place, park in a different place, lends a different perspective, and realize that it's the best thing that ever happened to you. But people that have that sense of entitlement, and that need for power, and the need to have their own way, they're always irritated. It's either a natural consequence, or it's one that I help contribute to. All right, guys. I hope that lent some perspective. I hope that it's something you can relate and understand. If you like the content, hit the like button. Please subscribe. All right. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a safe night. Bye-bye.